Breaking news, West Ham United have agreed a deal to sign Kalvin Phillips in this January transfer window with an option to make the deal permanent in the summer. He's made just 31 appearances in quite a long stint at Manchester City, actually. He joined the club back in July of 2022. Just 31 appearances, just one goal to his name. He's really failed to break onto the scene at the Etihad and really gain the trust of Pep Guardiola. So they've come to a mutual agreement that it's time for the England midfielder to move on and to find a new club to give him regular first team football. Now I'm going to discuss that a little bit later on. Are we going to give him regular first team football, and how is Moyes going to adapt his starting lineup and move the goalposts to an extent to get Kalvin Phillips into this Premier League starting lineup? Listen, we've had it confirmed from ex-OHU employee, from Fabrizio Romano and David Ornstein, the circle of trust for a West Ham transfer rumour world. They've all confirmed pretty much the same thing, that this deal is all but done. There's, according to some reports, a medical booked for tomorrow. He's been with the Manchester City camp over in Abu Dhabi, I think, for their winter break, and he's coming back over, and by reports he's going to East London to complete a medical as soon as tomorrow. There's an option to buy the midfielder if we want to trigger that in the summer for around 30 to 40 million pounds. We don't have a finalised figure, but it's in that region, we're being told. And if he plays really well and impresses, that's such an astute, smart bit of business, isn't it, really? It's a relatively risk-free signing in this January transfer window. As far as they go, I think is pretty good. We're paying his wages, yes, but apart from that, I mean, we can just say no thanks in the summer if we want to. So that's massively risk-free. I think it's similar to, Tottenham brought in Timo Werner on a loan until the end of the season. There's not a lot of risks involved. And when you think about a January transfer window, you think of panic buys, overpaying. And we're not doing that. It's taken some careful consideration and quite a lot of time to get the first deal over the line. Listen, I don't think there's going to be a plethora of signings in this January transfer window. There never is, unless there's a huge, huge crisis and a club has got lots of money to burn. But we're not in that situation. We've got FFP burning down our neck, just like they are with every other Premier League club. We can't spend a hell of a lot of money. We need to keep up with the homegrown quota for Premier League and for the European competition that we are participating in. So it fills that hole, and it fills the evident hole that we have in midfield when Edson Alvarez is absent from the side. Now, how are we going to fit him in a sort of starting capacity? I'm going to wait and see what David Moyes does, to be honest with you, because I'm not too sure. Is he going to drop one of Ward-Prowse and Souček? I don't think so. Then there's no other option, really, is he? Because he can't drop Alvarez when he's there, because he's fundamental. He's imperative to our success when he's there, Edson Alvarez. Because we've seen on so many occasions this season when he's unfortunately had a knock or an illness, or he's been out for whatever reason, we've massively struggled. Edson Alvarez is the key to the treasure in terms of a West Ham sort of a West Ham win. I know that's a really bad analogy, but it's true. If Edson Alvarez isn't there, we struggle. The balance of that midfield is all over the place. It's like one of them, what are they called? I can't even think what they're called. Our balance without Edson Alvarez, it's like one of them, I don't know what they're called now. You get what I mean. Up and down things in the park. Anyway, moving on. The balance is not there without Edson Alvarez, and he is such a key part of our midfield. And we've seen when he's not there, it falls to pieces. Now, I think Kalvin Phillips can fill that hole and prevent us from falling to pieces. But I'm sure that he won't want to be in the same situation that he was with the champions. He won't want to be sitting on the bench and waiting for Edson Alvarez to get ill or get injured. That's not what he's moving to the club for. So I would assume, we've been told personal terms were not an issue. So I would assume that there's been some guarantees from West Ham for first team football, because that's what he wants. So yeah, is he going to drop Souček or Ward-Prowse? He can't drop Alvarez when he's fit. How is Kalvin Phillips going to fit into this side for first team football, which is what he's requesting? I'm not entirely sure, but listen, if Edson Alvarez isn't there, we don't have a natural sort of number 6 to fill that hole. We're just sort of putting square pegs in round holes with Ward-Prowse and Souček, which just hasn't worked. We let Flynn Downs go, who was that sort of player last summer, and we just never really replaced him, and it's been telling and it's been damning this season of how poor we've been without his inclusion. So I think it solves that issue 100%. As I said, it's taken some time for us to get our first signing over the line, but as I've mentioned all month, it's incredibly difficult to get business done in this month, and I think it's really good business actually. And if we go and if we make it permanent in the summer, if he impresses in the couple of months that he's going to spend with us now, I'm all for that. Absolutely. I think he's a really good player. I think he just hasn't really found his mojo at Manchester City, and hopefully he's still got that brilliant game in him that he had at Leeds, which warranted that £100 million move to the champions. And if we can get him back to that level, what he was at Leeds, then we've got a really, really good player on our hands. And hopefully it's just a case of Man City haven't quite sucked that potential out of him that we all know he's got. Gareth Southgate's obviously seen something in him. He's consistently put him into the England squads despite not playing any club football. And, I've said that's wrong, and I still do believe that is wrong. But, he's definitely going to make it into the squad now for the Euros. If we play him and his sort of performances get to a decent and solid and consistent level, then, it's a no-brainer for him as well. But it's just the sort of puzzle of piecing this midfield together and how all these players are going to factor in when they're all back fit. If Paqueta wants to play in the middle, we can't have 5 players in midfield. Moyes has got to sort of analyse this, and he must have had a plan because he must have assured Kalvin Phillips regular first team football. Otherwise, he just wouldn't have agreed personal terms, and we wouldn't have signed him, because that's, at the end of the day, from what I can grasp, that's what he wants. Otherwise, he'd sit on the bench at Man City and just claim another couple of trophies at the end of the season. You wouldn't blame him for that, would you? He's got to be involved in the first team, otherwise he wouldn't come. That's a sort of logical argument that I'm trying to base here, and I'm hoping Moyes has got an effective sort of route and plan to get around it and to make all these players get to their full potential and to play all these players as well. I know we're going to have a lot of games with the European action coming back in the next month or two. I'm aware of that, but you can't play all these midfield players at once, can you? And they all want game time, that is for sure. So the breaking news is West Ham have agreed a deal to sign Kalvin Phillips on loan until the end of the season. There is also an option to buy the England international in the summer for a fee of around 30 to 40 million pounds, and that's completely on our terms. We can say no thank you and give him back to Man City, or we can go, you know what, we'll sign him, we'll pay the money, and we'll get him in a West Ham shirt on a permanent basis. I'm quite excited to see him in a West Ham shirt, especially when Edson Alvarez isn't there, because it's been quite painful with Ward-Prowse and Souček putting square pegs in round holes, and hopefully Kalvin Phillips can solve that issue and we can eradicate those sort of dreadful performances without him involved. Maybe one more January transfer window signing potentially. I can't see too much more than that, but put your thoughts of this Kalvin Phillips signing into the comment section down below. I was looking at some of his stats in his career. He is 28 and he's only just turned 28 as well. So, he should really hypothetically be entering his prime now. And if we can get him back to, as I said, what he was doing at Leeds, that's excellent. He played 234 times in a Leeds shirt, 14 goals, 13 assists in that time. So he played a lot of football at Ellen Road, and it was a big move and a big call for him to move away, and it hasn't worked. Listen, he's won all the trophies he could have dreamt of winning at Man City, but I think it portrays his elite mentality that he wants to play football, and that's his drive. He's driven by playing football. He's won all the trophies in the world, but he's not playing football, so he's not happy. His desire is to consistently play football week in, week out. How are we going to give him that? I'm not entirely sure, but obviously it's not officially confirmed. He could fail his medical, or something really drastic could change the status of this deal very late on. But as things currently stand, we've had David Ornstein, Fabrizio Romano and ex-WHU employee all confirm that West Ham have agreed a deal to sign Kalvin Phillips on loan until the end of the season. I'm quite happy with it, actually. For as far as January transfer window signings go, I think it's quite a good one. Put your thoughts in the comment section, drop a like, subscribe. Until the next one, I'll see you soon.